Imagine a world without color. Pretty dull, right? Now, think about how color adds vibrancy and depth to our lives. It's not just about aesthetics, it's about the richness and variety that color brings to our experiences. Just as a world without color would be monotonous, a world where everyone thinks and feels the same would be equally uninspiring. Now, imagine a world where everyone thinks the same way, feels the same things, and reacts in the same way. It would be like living in a monochrome world, devoid of the richness that diversity brings. Our differences are what make us unique and interesting. That's what it would be like if we didn't study the fascinating world of multicultural psychology. This field opens up a treasure trove of insights into how our cultural backgrounds shape our perspectives, interactions, and even our identities. It's like unlocking a new dimension of understanding. Multicultural psychology is like a giant magnifying glass. It allows us to zoom in on the intricate details of human behavior influenced by culture. By examining these details, we can appreciate the complexity and beauty of our diverse world. It helps us understand how culture shapes our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. This understanding is crucial in a world where cross-cultural interactions are becoming the norm rather than the exception. Without it, we're stuck with a one-size-fits-all view of the human experience, which we know just doesn't cut it. Just as one size doesn't fit all in clothing, a single perspective doesn't fit all in understanding human behavior. Why is this so important? Because understanding the diverse ways people think and feel helps us build more inclusive and empathetic communities. Because our world is more interconnected than ever. Technology has bridged gaps, allowing us to communicate and collaborate with people from all corners of the globe. People from diverse backgrounds are interacting every day. These interactions can lead to misunderstandings if we don't take the time to understand the cultural context behind them. To live and work together harmoniously, we need to understand and appreciate our differences. This appreciation fosters mutual respect and cooperation, which are essential for a peaceful and productive society. That's where multicultural psychology steps in, offering tools and insights to navigate our beautifully diverse world. It equips us with the knowledge to bridge cultural divides and celebrate the rich tapestry of human experience. So, how do we actually study something as complex as culture? Multicultural psychologists use a range of research methods, each with its own strengths and quirks. Some popular ones include surveys. These involve asking people questions to gather information about their thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. Experiments. Researchers carefully manipulate variables to see how they affect people from different cultural backgrounds. Observations. Researchers watch and record people's behavior in natural settings, looking for cultural patterns. Ethnographies. This involves immersing oneself in a particular culture for an extended period to gain an in-depth understanding. These methods allow researchers to explore how culture influences everything from our communication styles to our problem-solving strategies. Each research method has its own set of pros and cons, just like tools in a toolbox. Just as a carpenter wouldn't use a hammer to tighten a screw, researchers must choose the right method for their specific question. The diversity of research tools available allows for a tailored approach to each unique study. Surveys, for example, are great for collecting data from a lot of people quickly. They can be distributed widely and can cover a broad range of topics. This makes them particularly useful for gathering initial insights or understanding general trends within a population. But they rely on self-reporting, which can be biased. Respondents might not always provide accurate answers, either intentionally or unintentionally. This can skew the results and lead to misleading conclusions. Experiments, on the other hand, allow for greater control over variables, but they can feel artificial and may not translate well to real-world settings. The controlled environment of a lab can sometimes strip away the nuances of natural behavior, making it challenging to apply findings outside the experimental context. Observations offer valuable insights into natural behavior, but can be time-consuming and prone to observer bias. The presence of an observer can sometimes alter the behavior of those being studied, known as the Hawthorne effect, which can impact the authenticity of the data collected. Ethnographies provide deep cultural understanding but require significant time and resources. Researchers often immerse themselves in the community they are studying, which can lead to rich, detailed insights but also demands a high level of commitment and can be logistically challenging. The choice of which method to use depends on the research question, the available resources, and the ethical considerations involved. researchers must weigh the strengths and limitations of each method to determine the best approach for their specific study, ensuring that their findings are both valid and reliable. Here's where things get really interesting. Cultural differences can significantly impact research findings and psychological testing outcomes. Imagine you're trying to compare levels of happiness between people from two different cultures using a survey. The problem is the very concept of happiness might be understood and expressed differently in each culture. For example, in some collectivistic cultures, happiness might be closely tied to social harmony and fulfilling one's duties. In individualistic cultures, it might be more about personal achievement and self-expression. If we don't account for these cultural nuances, our results might be misleading. Section 5. Beyond psychology, culture's ripple effect. The impact of cultural differences on research and testing isn't limited to psychology. It pops up in various fields, often with significant consequences. Think about the development and marketing of products. A product that's a hit in one culture might be a flop in another if it doesn't resonate with local customs, values, or beliefs. Similarly, in medicine, cultural beliefs about health and illness can influence how people perceive symptoms, seek treatment, and respond to medication. Section 6. The universality of bias. One crucial thing to remember is that everyone has cultural biases. It's part of being human. We all see the world through the lens of our own cultural upbringing, and that shapes our perceptions and interpretations. In research, if we're not careful, our own cultural biases can creep into the way we design studies, collect data, and interpret results. This can lead to inaccurate conclusions and reinforce existing stereotypes. Section 7. Building bridges, not walls, culturally sensitive research. So, how do we avoid these pitfalls and conduct research that's truly culturally sensitive? This is a question that requires deep reflection and a commitment to understanding the nuances of different cultures. Firstly, researchers need to be aware of their own cultural biases and how these might influence their work. Self-awareness is the first step towards mitigating unconscious biases. Researchers should take the time to reflect on their own cultural backgrounds and how these might shape their perspectives and interactions. They should actively seek out diverse perspectives and involve community members from the cultures being studied in the research process. This means not just consulting with community leaders, but also engaging with a wide range of voices within the community. Secondly, it's crucial to use culturally appropriate research methods and tools. This involves more than just translating surveys or questionnaires. It means understanding the cultural context and ensuring that the tools are relevant and respectful. This might involve adapting existing measures or developing new ones that are relevant and meaningful to the target population. Researchers should pilot these tools with members of the community to ensure they are effective and appropriate. Finally, researchers need to be mindful of how their findings might be interpreted and used. It's important to consider the potential impact of the research on the community and to communicate findings in a way that is clear and accessible. They have a responsibility to communicate their results in a way that is sensitive, respectful, and avoids perpetuating harmful stereotypes. This means being transparent about the limitations of the research and being open to feedback from the community. Section 8. The future of understanding. The field of multicultural psychology is constantly evolving, and there are exciting developments on the horizon. Researchers are exploring new ways to measure cultural constructs, develop culturally sensitive interventions, and promote cross-cultural understanding. With increasing globalization and interconnectedness, the need for culturally informed research has never been greater. By embracing diversity and understanding cultural nuances, we can unlock a treasure trove of knowledge about the human experience. Section 9. Conclusion: Embracing our multicultural world. In conclusion, multicultural psychology provides us with invaluable tools to navigate the complexities of our diverse world. By understanding how culture shapes our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors, we can bridge divides, promote empathy, and create a more just and equitable society. As we've seen, cultural differences can significantly impact research findings and testing outcomes. Therefore, it's crucial to adopt a culturally sensitive approach in all aspects of research, from study design to data analysis and interpretation. By doing so, we can ensure that our findings are accurate, meaningful, and contribute to a more inclusive and understanding world.